Hey everybody. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the reflection paper that is due as the last assignment for this module, and it is the first of your major 20% weighted assignments for the course. So if you've made it this far, first of all, congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. It's been a pretty intense module. As I said, it's because of the nature of summer semester. Um, Everything that would normally be spread out over about 15 weeks, we're having to condense into about 8 weeks. So yeah, it does get a little intense there, but hang in there. You're doing great. And so I'm going to talk to you about the expectations for the reflection paper. So first of all, I want to let you know the reflection paper can be on any work that we've covered in the course up to this point. So it has to be something that we've already been through, we've discussed, you guys have done some reading, you've invested some time thinking about this work. You should not make it on anything on the syllabus that we have not covered yet. Okay, so that's the key criteria right there. Make sure it's something we've already talked about as of module 3, as of week 3. Reflection papers are just what the name implies. All right, this actually is your reflection on a work that we've discussed. So it's really the easiest grade. Well, I should say of all the major weighted assignments, I think it's the easiest grade of the entire course because all you're doing in this paper is giving your opinion. So it's going to be your reflection on, again, a work that we have been over. You can discuss really anything you want. Why the work was of interest to you. If it was your favorite work that we've talked about so far, why? Why did it intrigue you? Why did you not like it, if that was the case? And that's okay too. No penalty for disliking a work. Be honest. The paper can be positive or it can be negative. I don't care, as long as you give me a good, thoughtful, reflective paper. As I said here, in fact, trying to unpack all the reasons why you dislike the work can be just as compelling as discussing the ones that you liked. So definitely don't be afraid to do that. All right, so we're going to talk about format requirements. Papers should be a minimum of 500 words. So roughly, this is going to be 2 pages typed and double spaced. It should follow MLA format. In other words, it should have the look and presentation of a formal paper. All right, so that means you're going to have a header. You're going to have a title center spaced, and titles are important. Make sure that you give it a good title that actually indicates what the discussion of your paper is about. Don't just give it the title of the work. For example, don't just call your paper The Epic of Gilgamesh if you're writing on Gilgamesh. What are you going to tell me as a reader about Gilgamesh? But again, making sure that you have a title, making sure, again, the paper's typed double spaced. With that said, talking about MLA format, that just applies to how the paper looks, okay? So there should be no reason to have citations in this paper because there should be no reason to use secondary sources. This is a dialogue between you and the story. All right. So I'm not looking for what other critics have said or what other scholars have said. There should be no reason to quote stuff from off the internet. It's not that type of paper. It's not a research paper. If for some reason you've got a really burning need to cite something. I mean, obviously, you do need to cite something if you are taking it from another source, because it's plagiarism if you don't. But by and large, there should be no reason to do that. Okay. So we're not looking for cited material in this paper. Pay attention to your thesis. There will be a rubric attached to this paper. You should be able to view that rubric before you even submit the paper. If you go into the portal for the reflection paper, you'll be able to see that there's a rubric attached to that. And like I said, you should be able to view that rubric before you even submit the paper. And that might be helpful for you in, kind of looking at what the grading criteria will be, what those expectations will be. But you will see that one of the main categories for your grade on the paper will pertain to your thesis and purpose of the paper. Because even though you are just giving your opinion, it still needs to have a focal point. It needs to be about something specific pertaining to the work. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say if you're talking about why you liked a work, focus on what that reason is. It needs to be narrowed down to one or two very specific reasons that your paper will discuss. Like, for example, maybe you love the Epic of Gilgamesh because of the lesson it teaches us about friendship. Maybe you really hate the Epic of Gilgamesh because Gilgamesh is a horrible human being with no morals. Okay, that's fine. That's your focal point. All right, so just make sure that your paper has one. Something has to be holding the whole, 500 words, whatever, together. Your introductory paragraph should make it clear what the paper's focal point is going to be. And of course, the body of your paper will support that. All right, last slide. Important do's and don'ts. These are the things that could result in point deductions for your paper. Okay, so be forewarned. Again, it's a reflection paper, so I'm looking for your opinion. Please do not turn the paper into a summary or a retelling of the story. You do not need to do that, especially for me. I know the stories. I don't need to have them retold to me. And that's not the purpose of the paper. Now, you may need to summarize key passages, but just keep those summaries very brief, to the point. Keep them relevant to whatever element that you're discussing about that work. Just make sure that the whole paper doesn't become a blow-by-blow summary. And don't try to turn the paper into a literary analysis. This is probably the #1 most common mistake that I see with the reflection paper. And I'm not sure why. I guess it comes from students maybe not being clear on what the reflection paper is or what the expectations are. But I'm not looking for you to analyze. I'm not looking for you even to explicate. I'm not looking for you to tell me what the work means. I'm not looking for you to tell me what something symbolizes, or to go into a discussion about themes in the work or even character analysis. That's a totally different type of paper, and it's not what you're doing here. So in short, I just want to know what you thought about it. Some approaches could be considering how the work has relevance to you. Does it have relevance to your life? Why? Does the character remind you of somebody? Does the character remind you of yourself? Why? Was there a character you especially enjoyed or related to in some way? Think about points you might argue or debate. In the Aeneid, for example, And I know one of your assignment questions was, do you consider Ananias a hero? Well, you could carry that over to this paper if you want, or you could talk about, do you think that Ananias was being a jerk for the way he betrayed Queen Dido, or was he just fulfilling his mission? What do you think? Okay. Um, so something like that can work, you know, just make sure that you're not getting carried away with, again, like I said, trying to overly explicate the work rather than just discussing your opinion of it. All right, so that has got us through, I think, the most important key points about the reflection paper. This presentation will be posted separately if you just want to go in and read the slides without the narration. That's fine too. Do let me know if you have any further questions about the reflection paper. Bye-bye.